All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. That single line might just be one of the most chilling, brilliant, and unforgettable sentences ever written. It sounds ridiculous at first. How can something be more equal? But that's exactly the point. George Orwell wasn't just writing about a farm, he was writing about power, how it begins, how it shifts, and how it slowly eats away at truth and equality until everyone starts believing the lie. And honestly, the more you think about it, the more you realize that Animal Farm isn't a story about talking animals. It's a story about us, the systems we build, the leaders we trust, and how easily good intentions get twisted into control. Welcome back to the Book Lovers Corner, where we make everyone love classic books. I am Onaimi, and today we're diving into the world of Animal Farm by George Orwell, one of the most popular, powerful, and painfully relevant books ever written. So let's talk about this farm. It starts with an idea, a beautiful one. The animals, tired of being overworked and mistreated by their human master, Mr. Jones, decide to rise up. Led by two pigs, Snowball and Napoleon, they overthrow him and take over the farm. They dream of a place where animals are free, equal, and happy. A place where no one goes hungry and no one rules over anyone else. It sounds amazing, right? For a moment, it even works. The animals work together, they feel proud, and they rename the farm Animal Farm. They come up with 7 very simple commandments. They are painted on the wall for everyone to see. Rule of equality, fairness, and unity. The biggest one being all animals are equal. But it doesn't take long for things to change. The pigs, who were supposed to be the leaders of the revolution, start enjoying the comforts that come with power. They make little adjustments, small ones at first, like taking the milk and apple for their health. They convince the others it's necessary, and the animals believe them because they trust them and believe they are all fighting the same cause. That is the genius of Orwell's writing. He shows us that most oppression doesn't start with cruelty. It starts with justification. Someone says, "It's for your own good. We are protecting you. You don't understand the hard stuff." And before you know it, the people, or in this case the animals, have given up their freedom, one small piece at a time. Napoleon the pig, who eventually takes full control, slowly becomes everything they fought against. He gets rid of Snowball, uses propaganda through his mouthpiece Squealer, and even raises attack dogs to silence anyone who disagrees with him. The animals who once believed in equality now find themselves scared, confused, and powerless. One of the most heartbreaking parts of the story is Boxer, the hard-working horse. He represents every loyal worker who believes that hard work and obedience will one day pay off. His motto is, "I will work harder." But in the end, his loyalty is betrayed. When he collapses from exhaustion, instead of being cared for, he's sold off to the glue factory. It's one of the most painful and unforgettable moments in literature. When I first read this book at 13, I was convinced Orwell had written it about post-colonial Nigeria, because that was the world I knew at the time. In my mind, Mr. Jones was the colonial master, and Napoleon was the Nigerian government that replaced him. The story felt personal. A people who fought for freedom only to end up oppressed by their own. Over time, I realized Orwell was writing about something even bigger, the universal cycle of power and corruption. The same story repeats itself everywhere, in newly independent countries, in aging democracies, in companies, in movements, in any system where people stop holding power accountable. The more I think about it, the more I see how Animal Farm mirrors what happens when independence turns into entitlement. When leaders forget that freedom isn't ownership and revolutions are supposed to serve the people, not the powerful. It's as true in African politics as it is in the West, where voters still trade hope for slogan and loyalty for comfort. Through Boxer's Fate, Orwell shows us something brutally honest. The blind trust in leadership can be dangerous. Hard work is noble, yes, but when it's manipulated by those in power, it becomes a tool of exploitation. And remember that quote we started with? All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. By the end of the book, the pigs have become so human that the animals can't tell them apart from the farmers they once overthrew. Even the commandments on the wall changed. They made them more complicated, and what started off as 4 legs good, 2 legs bad became 4 legs good, 2 legs better. The pigs begin walking on 2 legs, wearing clothes, carrying whips, and dining with humans, the image of the oppressors they once rebelled against. It's the ultimate betrayal and the perfect symbol of how power corrupts completely. The revolution that was meant to bring freedom ends with the same hierarchy, only dressed in different faces. Animal Farm is a short book, but it's deep. It's about corruption, hypocrisy, and the slow, sneaky way power changes people. It's about how history repeats itself when we don't question authority, when we stop thinking for ourselves. And maybe that's why it still matters today, because every generation, in one way or another, faces its own version of Animal Farm, whether it's politics, workplaces, or even families. Power always tests integrity, and those who stop paying attention are the ones who get controlled. So, what do we take away from this? Maybe this: if equality is real, it has to be defended constantly. And if someone keeps telling you everything is equal, but somehow they always get the best piece of cake, maybe it's time to start asking questions. And here, my friends, is where we'll end Animal Farm today. Thank you for joining me again. Same time next week, we're diving into another classic. My name is Onaimi, and if I don't make you love classic books, who will?